Hello, welcome to my presentation of how to organize knowledge with Citavi Web. Citavi Web, the new version was released yesterday. So if you do find any errors or any suggestions, send them to us. We're continually improving and adding new features all the time, and a new release is scheduled about once every month. So because Citavi Web is software as a service, it's not, you don't need to install anything basically. So it's in permanent beta and it's permanently developed, and about once every month we push the improvements into production. So look out for new features and new improvements and error fixes all the time. So I will first here from the start page, I have to log in, of course, to recover my license and go into Citavi Web. If you do not have a license for Citavi Web, which is the alternative interface to Citavi 6 desktop, you can here order a free trial. It's available. It gives you a license for 1 month to try out the features. So I log here into my account by clicking on this button. Here I go into the login page, next, and yeah, that happens occasionally. Let's see if we get it right now. Okay. This happens occasionally. Don't ask me why. Come on. Okay. There we go. Good things take time. Okay, now I'm in my account and I want to go to Citavi Web. So I click on these 3 buttons, click on Citavi Web, and I open the start page of Citavi Web. If you are familiar with Citavi 6, you will recognize this. It's the welcome page, same layout, recent projects, and the news. Here, by the way, here is the update to Citavi Web and Citavi Assistant. If you're interested in the new features, just click here on more to find out. I will here open my most recent project after logging in, and now here we are. This is my project, and I want to go to one specific title now. It is by Wang. It is. And we want to look at the text, because what we're going to do is we're going to use index cards now. Index cards, basically the same feature. It's how people in the past could work with texts. They wrote the information that they wanted to use in their own research, or the information that they found interesting in the text they read, wrote them on index cards, on separate index cards, and then collected the information as separate items. And that's what we're going to do now here with Citavi Web. You can see there are already a couple of yellow marks that can be added like this to, if you go through a text, so first reading, you can mark up, highlight interesting bits of the text in a first quick go through and then later work with these items. What we are going to do is we're simply going to read it and directly mark up the elements that we want to use in our own research. So what I do is I highlight passages of the text, and now I can export or create a knowledge item for the highlighted text. So I highlighted the text, and now I can create either a direct quotation, an indirect quotation, a summary, or a comment. I choose a direct quotation here. As you can see, it copied the text of the highlight into the text section, and it inserted the first 6, 7, 8 words of this text section into the core statement. And it also copied automatically the page range. In case that does not work, sometimes the page range is not automatically recognized. PDF documents vary and some don't allow this. Just write it manually, do it yourself, and you will see that the second element, the second knowledge item that you create will have already the page range, because that is then recognized from the first knowledge item that you created. Okay, now what I would recommend here is that you do not use the core statement as copied from the first words, but write it yourself. My own words to summarize this section. Why would you do that? For two reasons. First, here I can see the core statement and the text. But in the other section later on, both here in the knowledge section and also in Word, you will only see the core statement. And sometimes the first words do not really give you a hint on what is going to follow. That is the first reason. So a quick summary so that you recognize exactly what this text section talks about. The second reason is that you might, that your memory, the way your brain works, it's not copy and paste compatible. That means that if you find something interesting in a text and you take a piece of paper and a pen and you write, the movement of your hand links to the brain and allows, and the time it takes, allows your brain to store the information, to process it in some way. So the probability that you later remember that you have this item is far greater than when you do quick copy and paste as we did now. The brain just does not work that way. It does not permit, it does not store the information. So that might be why you want to use the core statement and then in your own words. Okay, so this is done. I save the changes, and this is now the first knowledge item that I store. Go through the text again, find another element here. Come on. And here I create an indirect quotation. You can see it copies the core statement again, the first words, but it does not copy the text, because an indirect quotation, as you of course know, is the content. The meaning is by the author, but your words are used. So it's still a quotation, but an indirect quotation. You might hear the This is an indirect quotation. My own words describe the author's findings. As you see, the page number, the page range is again recognized. I store it, go through the text again, and there's another element. And here, let me take a bigger part. Okay, until here. And here I create a summary. Now, the difference between a summary and the indirect quotation basically is in size. I summarize the author's text in my own words. So the author and my version of what the author wrote in the indirect quotation might be 1-to-1, 1-to-2. So I use one sentence when the author uses two, whereas a summary, I use far less text than the author to describe the same the section. So that's basically, other than that, it's the same thing. A summary is still the author's concepts, but my words used to describe them. Okay, now I've created a direct quotation, indirect quotation. You can see the color here. The blue indicates direct quotation. The pinkish is indirect quotation, and the green is the summary. And you can even see them if I go here a little smaller. You can see here the bar on the side. The bar indicates that here, this is the summary. And the direct quotation, indirect quotation, they're directly in the text. We've chosen to do it that way because otherwise it would be summary cover more text, and it would be just too colorful all over the place. So there's this bar on the side. Okay, and now a last element here, another part, and I create a comment. Comment on this section. This part, in this case, this is not quotation. I'm referring to a section written by the author. I'm adding my comment or my interpretation as regards to what the author says. But still, I have to, when I quote it or when I write about it in my own publication, I have to say exactly where I got this from or what I'm referring to, right? So that's why this is also linked to the section. The page range is copied again, and store it. You see, we have now these four. It's called quotations, but it covers both quotations, summaries, and comments. And all of a sudden, while reading something by somebody else, I have an idea for my thesis, for my own publication. And for that, we have the thought button up here. This creates another knowledge item. Great. This is a fantastic idea. There's no page because it does not refer to any part of the text I'm casually now, I'm coincidentally reading. This is a thought, it is by me, and my idea. And I store my idea here. And you see, it does not show up in this part because it does not refer to this text. This is something that is my own that I want to use. I don't want to forget. So instead of writing it down somewhere, I store it in Citavi. Now we go over to the knowledge section. And here in the knowledge section, we find all the knowledge items. So you can see from the colors, direct quotations, indirect quotations, and here are thoughts as well, your own ideas. They're stored here or presented alphabetically. So my idea comes down here. Now we're going to work with them to organize them. That's what the categories are used for. The categories here in Citavi are used to prepare your publication. So basically, these are the chapters of your text, of your thesis, or of your book. And now what I can do is I have here selected no categories, so all the new items that have not been categorized yet. These are just a couple. The good thing about this is you will never forget anything you put into Citavi. That's not a piece of paper that, you know, the wind blows behind your desk and you don't find it again, or you misplace it somewhere. No. No categories means these are all elements that are new, that you have not used yet anywhere, don't know yet where to use, but they will not be forgotten because they're here. And here I have my idea, and I simply drag it onto this chapter. And it's categorized now. This is the comment. I move that into this chapter as well. Here is this element and the summary. And I pull that onto this as well. Now, if I don't exactly remember what was this comment again, you see the symbol here. This is a link symbol. I click on it and it takes me into the PDF file. Now this is a bug actually. I have to click on it again. It should do this directly. So take me directly to the place where the element is linked to. Close the preview. I'm back here in the knowledge section. So here I go to the causes of food fraud, and you can see these are the elements that I have put into this category. So the elements have been categorized. And now what I can do is I can order them. So I'll start with my idea, drag it up. I could also use the arrows here, move that one down, then go to here, my comment. And so I can already prepare the layout, prepare the way I want to argue in my paper or in my thesis by dragging the elements into the order in which I want to use them. And you will see later that in Word, I can directly access these elements via the categories. I don't have to search for them. They will be immediately available in the order, in the sort order in which I put them. And here, if I use the Control key, I can highlight several. And this gives me already here on the right-hand side a fairly good idea on what I have and if this makes sense. right? So I can already, before I start writing, I organize my thoughts and I organize my elements, the knowledge items, before I start the writing process that requires other things. You know, when I write, I want to write nicely, smoothly, let sentences flow and so on. First, I concentrate on what elements do I have, where do I want to use them, and I do not concentrate on the writing. So I separate these two jobs. Okay. Now you might wonder, where do these categories come from? That's fairly easy. Go here to conclusion, or hit any one of these actually, and here I can edit the categories by hitting the three buttons, the three dots at the bottom, edit categories, and here I have the categories. And now I can basically move them up and down as I did before with the knowledge items, or I can create a new category or subcategory. Outlook. So this is a subcategory of conclusion. Then I realize, no, this should be on the same level, so I move it on the same level. So this is conclusion, and then there's the outlook after it. And outlook, I want to give it a subcategory. So whatever, specifics. You can see, and I can also move them, like here with the arrows. Causes comes before cases now, or back again. So this
Sorry,
is how
Patrick,
yes.
Can I interrupt you there just quickly?
Sure.
There's a question here, and I think it's best to do it while you demonstrate this feature.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, maybe I missed something, but it looked like the elements do not leave the no category when you drag them to a category.
Yes, very good question. They don't. They do, but they don't. You see, they're gone now. I do it again. I drag it, and you can see the text. This element no longer fits your selection, right? It does not fit, but since I might want to use this element somewhere else as well, it stays in the no category section. So I can drag it also here. And if I leave the no category section and go here, I find it, and I go back to no categories, then it's gone.
Great, thank you.
So that's on purpose. It stays there because you might want to use it in two different places. That's why it does not disappear immediately and you go hunting for it. When you leave the category and go back, then it's gone. Okay,
yeah,
so any other questions?
Not yet. So
no,
yeah,
just interrupt me. Just interrupt me when the question comes up. Okay. Yeah, so now you can see we have the categories. We have changed the categories, so you know how now. Here, three buttons, edit categories, and now you can move them around and create new subcategories via this down here or with the plus button. So different ways of doing things, and you move then the knowledge items into the section where you need them, into the category. We clicked on the element. This allows me to go. Okay, good. Now here it is highlighted. So here it worked, and the other one it didn't work. Okay, so the bug is not that serious. Good. Okay, and now let's go how we continue from here in Word. And I have already created a new empty document. And now we want to connect Citavi Web with this document. If you're familiar with Citavi Desktop, you will know the word add-in. It is here. This is not good for Citavi Web. The Citavi word add-in only connects with Citavi 6 Desktop. So forget about this. Go to Insert, Get Add-ins, Office add-ins. This is both on Windows as on Mac. You have the Mac Store, the Apple Store, and you have here the Office add-ins, the Microsoft Store. Search for Citavi, and you will see this is the Citavi Assistant. So we have to differentiate here. The Citavi Assistant works together, interfaces with Citavi Web, and the Citavi Word add-in interfaces with Citavi 6 Desktop. Add, I did not click on add because I have added it already, but here you would search for it, add, and then you have it in references. You can see here, this is the Citavi Assistant, and this is not the good one, unfortunately. Okay, let's see. This is Citavi Assistant. There's a beta version, and there's the alpha, and here the prod Citavi Assistant. Okay, I log in here again. I have to log in. Now let's hope it works this time. Yes, good. Okay, so now we have this new document, and we can now assign, or we have to assign, the project to this document. This is the project I have open at the moment in Citavi Web, and I connect this project to my document. You can see here, this is now the Citavi Assistant, and you will, if you have worked with the word add-in, you will realize that it's fairly similar. We've got the references section, we've got the knowledge section, a chapter section, and a citation section. Now let's go here to settings, and I quickly walk you through the different parts that you need to know. This is the project that is connected to the document. The citation style, you can change it here by clicking on this button and select another one. The bibliography, as defined in citation style, you can change the heading here. How knowledge items are inserted. Normally what we do is the default, you only insert the knowledge item text. You do not insert the core statement. But if you want to, some people use the knowledge items the way that they start their sentence in the core statement and then let it flow into the text. And then you would export both the core statement and the knowledge item text. So you can define that here. And the reference placement here, that's the default in-text or footnote according to the citation style that uses either in-text citations or footnote citations, but you might also change this default placement here. Okay, so these are the settings, and now here are the references, those that are not categorized. Let's go to here, the causes of food fraud. These are the references that have been categorized, not the knowledge items, the references. And I can insert them now one by one, but we have already done some work in Citavi by creating the category system, right? So I click on one of the categories, and here there is this tool symbol. I click on it, and I insert all categories, but without the knowledge items. And now what Citavi does, it exports the categories as chapters. You can see here in home, this is the heading 1 style, and this is a heading 2. So Citavi uses the headings, and now what we want to do we want to add chapter numbers. Okay, sorry, I have to highlight everything, and now here select. Okay, it worked before. I don't know why it's not working now. Sorry about that. So it should have taken also the, okay, it's not doing it now. Doesn't matter. Still, it is the heading. So I wanted to have the numbers as well. It is doing it. There's a different way of doing it to see them, but it doesn't matter because the level, heading 1, heading 2, heading 3 is there. And now I can go into the chapter. I'm in here in causes of food fraud, and I place the cursor into this chapter. And if I now go in the chapters tab in the Citavi Assistant, what I can see is the references and the knowledge items in the order in which I inserted them. So this allows me to concentrate on the chapter and only see the elements that are pertinent here because I already in Citavi decided that I want to use them here. So I can really concentrate and focus on this chapter with the previous stuff I had found. And now I can simply insert them. Let's insert this one directly the way you would probably phrase it, as has been found by, and now Tanonidis, and we insert this one. We can directly do person year. Okay, so that has been found by Tanonidis, and now I place the cursor between these elements. 2 elements have been inserted. One, the author without parentheses, and the year in parentheses. And that's simply right now, has been found by Tanonidis et al. This does not apply in all cases, whatever. And I have the year behind. And if I want to add a page number as well, I just go to the citation section. This is the 2017. And here I add page 54. And you can see, has been found by Tanonidis, this does not apply in all cases, and in parentheses, 2017, page 54. Please, very important, never, ever change the text in the fields by hand. This does not work. That's why we show this text here to edit, citavi.com/edit. These are word fields. They cannot be modified manually. They are the process of a program that runs in the background. It's a style, the citation style that has been selected with the content that is in Citavi. So do not change this directly, but if you want to change anything, like here, the text, the name is not spelled correctly, what you do is right-click Citavi. Now let me see. Here, click on this, edit in Citavi Web. That's how you do it. So you go to the element, edit in Citavi Web, and it opens the project. Oh, wrong browser. Sorry, my mistake. Okay, let's need this. Here it is. And if I want to change the name, I do that here. Taranidis, whatever. Okay, change the name. And now I go back to my document. And you see the name is changed because it is taken directly from, okay, this seems to be a bug. No, I inserted it. Okay, I inserted it. I didn't want to insert it. Okay, so, but the name has been changed here. And now I can insert also knowledge items, my idea, and here, and so forth. You can see now also the tick mark. The tick mark indicates that this element has been inserted in the text. So if I continue in Citavi Web, and create new knowledge items and add them into the section, into the category, and put them where I want to use them, they will appear without a tick mark. So I will always see, if I go to the chapter, the ones here, these are the books. The book that has been used is green, the others are white. And the knowledge items that are used get this tick mark, and the others that have not been used yet don't have a tick mark. So that helps me to keep track of new elements that I have inserted in Citavi that are not yet in Word. Okay, so this is basically the way how I can insert elements, insert knowledge items, and references. And now let me show something else. We go back, I deleted everything, go back to references and do the same thing again. Click on one of the chapters, go to the tool, insert all categories, but this time including the knowledge items. Now Citavi creates a draft version of my paper. Because in Citavi, I have already ordered so many things. I have put them into the correct order, and I might want to directly create a draft. Of course, this is a very, very early version. So please do not create the draft and then hand in the paper. That's not going to work. You will still need a lot of processing, but still some people prefer this way of working, especially if they are afraid of the blank page, writer's block, when they have to write a 10-page summary or whatever, and this might create writer's block in some people. And with Citavi, you can either only export the elements, so the chapters, the categories as chapters, or you completely create the a draft. Now this is to format it. It should have happened immediately. Okay, it did not happen. This is also a little bug we discovered. So we are inserting all these new lines. They're not needed. And you can see here now, this is the publication bibliography, and it contains all the references that have been quoted or cited up here in the text. So now I have very early draft version, and I can change text. I don't have to create it anew. So some people prefer that. And now if I go to my section, cause of food fraud, I have here the elements that I in Citavi, put into order, sorted, and now I have something. I can move them around or change it. And of course, I can always change the text here, no problem. I can cut here the Chinese, can always here eliminate text. And nothing happens to the knowledge item in Citavi. This is completely separate. It's an export from Citavi. So once you exported it, you can do whatever you want with the elements that you exported. The important thing is you have your source at the back, so you will avoid plagiarism, right? Because Citavi always keeps track of where something comes from, and you don't have to remember to insert after a text that you inserted where you got it from. Citavi does that for you. Okay, I can still go to the chapters, and now you see that they have been ticked. Here in regulation, I've got this element and it has been ticked. Of course, the references, I would have to insert them manually because that depends on, this is not, there are no knowledge items connected to the references that have been categorized. Okay, so this is, let me see, let me go to the back here, the publication bibliography, and now we can change the citation style. And I select a different citation style, for example, APA, 7th version in English, click here, and I have to save changes and format, and Citavi then reformats the bibliography. And you can see that now it's called references, and this is APA 7. Now I might not want to call this references, and I can do that here by bibliography, new heading, my reading list. Save changes and format. And now you see, don't worry, it goes up there again. Now it's my reading list. So I can also change the heading of the bibliography without having to actually edit the citation style, which with Citavi Web is not possible. You can only use citation styles that are available in the program, official styles. But there are, at the moment, we are at 11,600, more or less. So there's plenty of styles in many languages to choose from all kinds of disciplines and also from all kinds of papers. And you can always request new citation styles. They will then be created. It's also possible to have house styles. So styles that are only used in one faculty or at a college or university. They can also be added to the official list of styles. Okay, let me now, there's something else I wanted to mention. We change the citation style. Oh, here we had a look at that quickly. If I want to change the page number here, once again, that's very important. You go, this actually also a small bug. If I double click on it, it should jump here to the correct citation. We'll do that, add that later. So this is the one, Nestec, page 18. Click here on the tool and here you type 19. Formatting, and now it's 19. So never, ever do that here. Because if you do it here, page 20, when you refresh, you can see it reverts to 19 because that is the value that is in this field. You cannot edit word fields manually. Okay, so that's very important. Keep that in mind. Never edit. And P for page. Okay, let's select a German style. The Citavi Basis Stil. You can see here, the S is added automatically. So this is done by the citation style. You simply select the style, format, and Citavi takes care of the rest. And you can be sure that all the texts that you have inserted will be in the bibliography, and the bibliography will not contain any text that you did not want to insert. Now, if you want to insert an element only in the bibliography or only in the text, sometimes that's a fringe case, but that's also sometimes that happens. You want sort of background reading that's always necessary in the context. You want that in the bibliography, but you don't actually quote it or cite it anywhere in your text. You can do that by selecting the reference, for example, this one here, and here add to bibliography only. It's also possible to not add to the bibliography, so only in the text, but not to the bibliography, or here to add to bibliography only. And I hit, and you see here, nothing happened here, but there's a field, and the field is empty. So you can still see it, but it won't print. And this empty field then adds Bitsios here. And if you delete this field again and reformat, see here, the Bitsios disappears again. So you can be sure whatever you cite and quote in your text will be in the bibliography, and you will only have text in the bibliography that have been used in the text. Okay, let me show you one more here. These are options that you might want to use as well. Numeral system, Arabic numerals, uppercase Roman, lowercase Roman, the rule set to use, the bibliography rule set. This is something that you might be familiar with from the Citavi desktop. Format options 1, 2, 3. This is for fringe cases, special cases where you have to quote something in a very specific way, and there has been a rule set up in the citation style. Then you can use these format options here. So they're a little hidden because they're fringe cases, but you might want to need them in your publication. Okay, so it's inserted now, and here. Okay, now let's go back to the project, and I want to mention 2 pages that you might want to need, and one is the missing features in Citavi Web. We are continually improving it and adding features that are already available in Citavi 6 that are not yet available in Citavi Web. And this is in the FAQ in Citavi, the knowledge base. You can find here under Citavi Web the missing features. So some features, you might want to have a look at that to see if that's enough for you, or if there's still something essential that you need. These are going to decrease with time. So we are continually developing Citavi Web, and every month we'll have a new version, and these elements will disappear slowly. Okay, the differences between the Citavi Assistant and the Citavi Word add-in. There's also some differences, and here some features are not yet available in the Citavi Assistant, but they will be also slowly but surely. We will add them to the features in Citavi Web or the Citavi Assistant. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Patrick. I see the clock is ticking, but thank you for the great presentation. With me today, I both have our Nordic sales manager, Shend, which is at our Gothenburg, Swedish office, and also my German colleague, Aslam, which is our support manager for Citavi. Aslam, I don't know,
Hello.
do you have any? Should we take one or two questions to Patrick before we end this webinar?
Yes, I just picked the most frequent question, like which we get in a support. So Patrick, there is a question. Can I use Citavi Assistant parallel to Citavi Workstation, like the normal Citavi Word in, or does it lead to problems?
I would not recommend it for the time being. Because the way the fields are inserted is still slightly different between the Word add-in and the Citavi Assistant. So just wait a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months. We will improve that, and we will make it completely compatible and interoperable, so that people can work in groups where some use Citavi Web, they work on the same documents, some on a Mac and others on a Windows machine, and we will get there to have that interoperability. But for the time being, just wait, be patient.
Okay, next question. Does it make a difference which Word version you're using? For example, if you're using Microsoft 365 Online?
Online Citavi Web, you can see here, the Citavi Assistant does not yet work with Word Online. That's why I mentioned these pages. And you can see here the Assistant is yes, no Word Online, but I think starting from Word 2013, if I'm not mistaken, both work.
Okay. The next question is, how can you make sure that Citavi Assistant is using the correct formatting templates for headlines?
That is actually something that is defined in Word. So this is here, you can see this is, let's go here, Citavi bibliography heading, and I can change that, modify, and style based on the heading 1. Don't know now why it's not automatically using the correct style, but this is something that is, hang on, if I directly use heading 1, okay, see, this is now changed to my reading list, which is the heading here, heading 1, or here in the German version. So actually, this is something that is done by, this is taken care of in Word. This is not something that Citavi does.
Yeah, and the user had another question regarding that topic. Like he said, like this is only for bibliography headings. What about the other headings?
Yeah, same thing. The other headings here, this is a normal heading, and this is taken care of by Word. This is not something that that Citavi does.
Okay. And
Thank you. I think
yeah.
I have to interrupt you there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also say, as Patrick says, this is the word styling. So you choose the word theme and styles, and it will format accordingly. So, thank you again, Patrick, for the great presentation. I will need to bring up our next webinar, which is Sigma Plot.